Fucking yes, we're back again for another live stream on a good old Monday. This week's going to be a little bit weird. We're going to be doing live streams on both Monday and Friday. And we'll continue with the Twitter live stream tradition that we began ever so 4 days ago. Very, very crazy, but very glad to see a lot of familiar faces in here as well. Mr. Matthew Smead, Sunshine Girl, says, please come laugh for us today. Indeed, Sunshine Girl, that must mean that she's from Florida, right? That's the Sunshine State. So if you're the Sunshine Girl, you must be the Sunshine State. I can't speak it because I have too much of a fucking raspy, lesbian, lispy voice right now. What's up, Mr. Tom Struck? Bear Nutrition, good friend, good mate, and he's having a nice little coffee. I'm gonna have some coffee as well, man. I could desperately use it for today. I woke up like fucking 3 or 4 times last night. Don't know what the hell is going on, but I don't think the creatine worked.
I heard you.
You heard me?
I heard you.
Dropping farts?
Yep.
Yeah, I dropped some fart coins in the toilet at night. It's true. But hey, that's just what needed to be done. Miss Sanaz, good morning to you as well. Hope all is well over in your part of the world. King Sock says, best chart in crypto today. Mantra. Indeed, I actually, when I woke up during one of the times at night, I think it was like maybe 1 or 2 a.m., I went onto Twitter, okay? I'm fucking addicted, all right? I went onto Twitter, and first thing I see is that goddamn chart just absolutely crashing out. And it's this big surprise. Holy shit, an altcoin rugging? No way. This cannot be so. Anyways, what's up, Mr. Monkey? What's up, Mr. Monkey? Now I recognize that is a very clever name. And I'm over here on Twitch as well, which we got a few people hanging out here too. Anyways, Michael Blast, good morning to you. You got a percolator coffee? What's a percolator? It sounds like a sexual movement. Yeah, LOM, exactly, man. OMG is what it probably should be called. Hello, sir. Hello, sir, indeed. My bum is on your lips. Yes, I think that you might be a bit confused with, was it Tom Green? Is it Tom Green? Is he the one who does Freddy Got Fingered? Because I keep on meaning to show Elsa this movie, but I can't find it. I can't fucking find it. I'm very because I hate you. What? How does that mean that I hate you? Anyways, Elsa and I have been watching a lot of old movies recently. We actually just watched Coming to America last night for some good motivations for her. It's actually it's a really entertaining movie, honestly. I mean, it's not like super fucking funny or anything like that, but it is quite entertaining. Anyways,
You know what's really funny?
what's really funny?
Pie.
American Pie is really funny. Yes, I've only seen it like fucking 50 times. I used to watch that movie every night before I go to bed.
And white chicks.
And White Chicks, what? Well, it is actually a good movie, but not my favorite. Anyways. Daddy, would you like some sausage? It's the weirdest movie of all time, man. I remember watching that when it first came out. This must have been like 20 to 25 years ago. Just fucking insane how time flies. Anyways, I'll keep an eye on the chats over here. Lee says, let's do this. We shall do this soon. I'll give a little bit more time for people to join in. Of course, I do expect things to be kind of slower today, despite Bitcoin. I mean, for like the true crypto nerds like ourselves, this is still rather exciting because Bitcoin's actually, moving a little bit here and there. But, for the average person, probably not so much. Anyways, before we get to the actual analysis, I do kind of want to just do a quick perusal of a lot of the major charts to be looking at. I saw someone call out on Twitter this morning that Dixie has made new lows for the lowest levels. Yeah, the lowest levels in about 3 years. Yeah, the last time that we saw levels around 99.5 was back on over in March of 2022, as the prior bear market was getting fully underway. But, this makes it very difficult coming off of major moving averages like this. And ultimately, I don't know how actionable this chart is, because the obvious thing is staring us right in front of the face. This thing's been straight fucking down since January 13th. Bitcoin's also been straight fucking down since January 13th. So I don't know, I don't know if that relationship is necessarily holding true right now, because there's probably something else going on in the background. This is probably, something else is driving this. Not what you typically expect. It's not suggesting what I think a lot of people are looking for, in that the dollar is massively weakening. It is probably just other countries selling the US dollar, which I would imagine, does make sense geopolitically wise, not to get into like a political situation, but geopolitically wise, like It's no secret now, man. The U.S. is in a fucking Cold War with China. It's been a Cold War for a while. It's no longer Russia. It is now China. It is a war. It is an ongoing war that will continue until the dawn of time. Everyone wants to be the number one, the number one country with the number one reserve currency because it gives you a shit ton of power. And that's the battle that we're fighting right now, or that's the battle that's going on right now. And maybe China's, selling a bunch of their dollars because they do hold a lot of dollar debt actually from the US. Anyways, lots of other things to be speaking about. Jess says he's a molester. He's a child molester? Who's a child molester? Me? Oh man, that's news to me. Victor Berselli says Coming to America is a great fucking movie. Yeah, man, it's a classic movie. These are very classic movies. I love them. I'm glad that Elsa was enjoying it as well. Victor Berselli says Coming to unfortunately turned on my voice on the other side. My apologies there. Oops, my bad. Anyways. Oh god. Okay, there's one comment on Twitter and it's just a complete shitcoin shill. It's not going well on Twitter right now. Maddie Hall says, what is Bitcoin going to do today, Krown? That's what we really want to know. I'll have to look into my crystal ball and we'll figure it out. But as always, we give a little bit of time for people to join in. It takes some time for people to get here, and then of course we can get into the actual analysis, Maddie. So hold your fucking horses, hold your pants, and be respectful for once in your life, for fuck's sake. It's a woman anyways. I mean, Jesus Christ, did anyone allow you in here? This is ridiculous. Get the fuck out! I'm kidding, okay? We love our women. Sunshine Girl is amazing. Sanaz is amazing. Many other amazing women in this. Yes, you're amazing as well, okay? We all know this, all right? Stop fucking bragging. Anyways, there's many other amazing women of the community as well. A lot of good ones on Twitter too. Tell me now. I will tell you. Yeah, we've always been at war with East Asia. What's up, Mr. Caretaker? Good morning to you. Another good friend as well. And yeah, I mean, when you look at history, it has been a never-ending war between the West and the East, essentially. I mean, that's if you kind of, I guess, put the Middle East in the East basket, which I guess they kind of are. I mean, it's the Middle East, right? So East is kind of implied there. But yeah, that's been the name of the game for what, 2,000 years now? About 2,000 years, maybe even more than that. But I do know that there have been, these sort of wars going on for quite some time. Are you gay, says Telephone Jack? I don't know, but if you want to try, I'm available. Kidding, man. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shit, I'm gay. Ricardo says GM too as well, sir. OM, a lot of people looking at OM. Yeah, we can bring it up on the charts here really quickly. I suppose it's the big topic of the day. Crazy whole highly esteemed shitcoin dumping to all hell in just one fucking dildo. What a surprise. What a massive surprise. Like, did you need me to tell you that these things are scams? Anyways, we actually did call a top on this one back on over here in early March, coming off of this move to the downside. I couldn't have told you that it was going to do something like this after that, but that is the general sort of altcoin route, just pumping all the way up and then dumping all the way back down. That is what is best to assume with pretty much almost everything. I would say sans 1% of the total amount of cryptos available in the world, maybe even less than that, actually. I mean, realistically, it's a handful. It's probably less than 20, and there's, I guess, hundreds of thousands of cryptos now. I mean, they just shit them out every day on fucking Pump Fund, right? If you include those, at least. OM, no good. Yeah, a lot of bullishly impaled bungholes on this dildo right here. I mean, that is just absolutely fucking awful. Jesus, man, look at that. 94% down in literally one day, in literally one fucking day. But it's bouncing pretty well. We've already seen a 166% bounce. I mean, just because it's a scam doesn't mean you can't make a shit ton of money on it, but holy shit, that is a game for only the most of the most ardent of degens out there in the world. That is just like fucking wild. Again, this is the regular chart. This is the real chart. You know, when you don't put it on log scale, it's just dastardly. But when you put it on log scale, you know, it could just be a normal pullback, right? Did OM go to zero? Actually, no, it's not. It's not actually even anywhere near zero. In fact, it's about 77 cents away from zero after being just $6.50 the day prior. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's coming back, baby. Just make sure you go 100x long. And of course, the money will flow back into your account as well. What's up, Super Gululi? Good to see you, man. And yeah, we'll look at that. Actually, you know what? We can look at XRP really quickly. Why not? I'm genuinely curious to see what a lot of the top market cap altcoins look like today. You know, are they showing strength? Are they showing weakness? Are they showing rejections? Certainly, XRP relative to Bitcoin right now is, I guess, it's pretty much on par, slightly weaker if you want to be super stringent with it. But looking at this here, you know, if you are going to be expecting a bearish rejection on XRP, the most obvious area, as always, on a move like this is going to be that green 55 EMA. And as of yesterday, yes, it did test up around there. I don't think Bitcoin's gotten up to its 55 just yet, but I think that it very likely does. But this one has tested up into there and so far rejected. But of course, a rejection doesn't just happen in one day. We need to see at least 2 dildos to confirm this one. And that would require a closure below Sunday's low, which would be 208. If you see below 208, then I think you get another run back down around that white 200 simple moving average, which is about 190 right now, and rising, of course. But until that happens, you know, it could level out here, could follow Bitcoin, could put in another move to the upside. If it does, I would be looking somewhere around 240, give or take about 5 cents from that number. But yeah, you know, a lot of these bounces, you know, they look very corrective to me. While I do think that things generally go higher across the market here, I do think that, you know, a lot of these bounces are looking very corrective to me. So I think that, you know, this next month and a half is going to be quite difficult, as we're going to get, you know, we're very likely going to get an extension of the bounce, you know, maybe even all the way up to like $95,000. But that's the most concerning area possible to me to get rejected from, at least as of right now. 2 dildos better than 1. Yes, we have double-ended dildos, and we can share them because we are communists here. We share everything. In fact, Helsinki has voted in literal communists into the government. I'm not even fucking joking. Helsinki has voted literal, stated, outspoken communists into the government. And so we will be leaving. We actually do need to leave. It's actually fucking insane here, man. Anyways, did you see that even with a massive drop, OM still outperformed Ethereum year over year? That I did not know, but not very hard to do, I guess. Speaking of Ethereum, up 1.5% start off the day. You know, again, coming off of a major moving average like this, I have to be looking for at least a bigger bounce than what we've already seen. So that is why I do really lean towards extensions of bounces for most things in this market. They got pretty fucking beat up over the last couple months, and I suspect that it's time to bounce off of a low and probably put in a lower high, but that's going to require multiple weeks anyways. You know, looking at weekly stochastic momentum for something like Ethereum, it's about to turn up. It technically did not turn up, by the way, from yesterday to today, but it very likely will turn up, I suspect, coming into this next week, assuming it can stay above about 1472, 1473 region. You know, should be good enough for a bit of a bounce, but you know, it's got so much fucking work to do to the upside that, you know, to make this one look good, that is just it's just a disappointment. It's just a disappointment, unfortunately. Anyways, hell is in Norway. I've been to hell, really? Wait, what? I thought Norway was fine. It was good. It looks really beautiful, at least. Oh, there's a place called hell in Norway. Okay, yeah, I see. Helsinki, yeah, man. Helsinki. I love the place for what it is, but I do not like the fucking politics here and the people here. There's some great people here. Don't get me wrong. Some of the best people I know are Finnish and they're here, but goddamn. That's not the average. That's not the average. Anyways, Helsinki sells in May. It is a little bit like that. Yes, you could actually say that. The only way to defeat communism is to throw all of your internet monies into Fartcoin. This is a genius idea, actually. I mean, I had to add Fartcoin back to my list just because it had such a fucking crazy move to the upside while most things were just holding on to lows. I mean, Jesus, man. Like, imagine all the people who shorted this thing on the double derp, the double top over here, only to get run over by a good like 50% move to the upside. Let me actually see if I did that mental math properly. Let's see. Oh shit, way more than that. 80%. Wait, what? Oh yeah, okay, it got up to about $1. So yeah, about a 2x move from there. Jesus, man. The Ethereum Pectra upgrade soon, 100% pump incoming. Yes, because that worked the last time when they had the last upgrade as well, if I remember properly. No, Ethereum hasn't done any such pumpings. Unfortunately, there have been no pumps. There have been no 100% pumps on Ethereum in a long time, unfortunately. Is there a Finland stock exchange? And would you ever trade that? There is a Helsinki stock exchange. Would I ever trade it? Probably not. I imagine it's just impossible for Finnish companies to make money with the regulations and taxes here. But what would be? I need to ask chat. Let me ask Chat GPT what their indice is called. Oops. Okay. Probably shouldn't just show that. I was asking chat about my credit card. I got an email from my credit card company this morning saying that my identity's been stolen, but it's actually just me. I'm just trying to apply for a new credit card while I'm abroad. That's all. Anyways, all right, let's ask chat. What is the ticker for the main index of Finland / Helsinki? All right, let's see what it is. I'm sure that there's going to be a great fucking chart. OMX. Well, I should keep an open mind. All right, OMX. Well, it's instinctively put in USD. That is not Finland. That is Swedish. Hold on, chat. I think you got it wrong. Wait. Oh, okay. It's this. All right. All right. Well, let's see what pops up. Yes, there we go. All right. Trades on NASDAQ, but we'll go to Helsinki Exchange. Looks absolutely fucking damn. Jesus Christ, man. Is there no further evidence needed of Finland's lack of economic power? Holy shit, man. Well, everything else in their mother was busy going to the moon and beyond for the last couple of years. Finland has been hanging out. How far off the highs? Just in a range. Like 30% off, 20 to 25% off the highs, hanging out in the range. Just pathetic, fucking pathetic, man. But that's the problem, when you have too much regulations, when you have too much taxes, it kills innovation. And when you kill innovation, well, you kill your fucking stock market, obviously. Like, who the hell wants to be an entrepreneur in Finland? It's not going well. Why don't you use Grok instead of ChatGPT? I use both, actually, but ChatGPT has a memory function, so I can essentially give it context on my personal life, and it will remember that and remember really anything that I tell it, and then I can just call it up later. So, like, if I want a fucking personalized psychologist, for example, I just go to chat and chat already knows me. Chat already knows everything about me. I've told it my full histories, and it's like, oh, this is probably because of this, and you think this way because of that, and then it's just amazing, man. I fucking love it, man. I fucking love it. Also love Butthole Coin over here as well. Great token. Or sorry, it's actually not Butthole Coin. It's Buttcoin. It's Buttcoin. Also among some of the better charts in cryptocurrency land as of recent, although this one probably is topping out right here. Anyways, Grok does the memory feature now too. Really? So I pay for premium on Twitter, but I don't pay for like the premium plus or whatever like the super high level is. So I'm wondering if it has it still for premium, but if it does, then that's awesome. But I don't know. I'm just so used to chat now. It's so ingrained in myself already. I use it every day. I fucking love it, man. Grok is better. Grok is definitely better with like current events. Absolutely. It's 100% better with that. But generally, I do like it. Super USDT weekly pivot update, please. Well, might as well. We're right here, and my good mate Elliot runs this one. Short term, probably a little bit of a local high. Long term, weekly, I think that this one trades up closer to like 80 cents, maybe even $1. It's going to take a while though. I don't know if it's only paid. I mean, I do pay for Twitter. It's just I don't pay for like the super high level because I think that there's tiers. There's like premium and then premium plus. Like, it's just so fucking stupid. Premium and premium plus. Just premium. How about that? Just premium. Grok's my therapist and I pay nothing. That's awesome. Do you do it in sexy mode or in unhinged mode? That's also pretty. That is a really fun thing about Grok. Elsa, you should try unhinged mode on Grok. I think she'll start crying, honestly. But anyways, okay. Actually,
I'm not gonna stop crying because it's gonna call me fat and ugly or something.
it actually might call you fat and ugly and stupid. Yeah, it actually will. But go on to Twitter and then go to Grok and then say,
It didn't allow me to do it.
well, you can try it now. All right. Let me polish off the rest of this caffeine and then we'll get into the actual content of the day. The content of the day. Actually, I have a quick announcement as well. Just ate my wife's butthole coin, and my throat kind of hurts now. Sounds like you got liquidated, sir. There's a pill for that, though, at least. Anyways, yeah, just a quick little announcement here. For the people who have taken advantage of the free trial for the quantum wave bands, and for anyone who actually just has it outright, like you actually paid for it, well, you now have access to a very specific Discord channel over here. Let me actually show it really quickly. It is basically barren right now, but it'll be this one right here. All you need to do in order to claim that Discord role is do the exact same process as you did to claim your indicators through the website. And there's also, of course, a quick guide in the teachable content, just kind of like walking you through step by step. But I think for 99% of non-lobotomized people, it's very obvious. Like, you just link your teachable and then you link your Discord, and then you claim your roles. Simple, simple, simple. Very easy. But I'm sure the questions will come in. It is what it is, man. It is what it is when you offer a free trial. But hey, the free trial is still going. And in fact, the free trial is still going to get you 30 days for free with the code. God damn it. Where's the fucking code? Trial in all capitals. In fact, the quantum wave bands on the hourly are actually in a trade here, catching the low from Saturday, still in that trade. So opened at 82,700. Right now trading almost $2,000 above that, or 1,500 above that. Did struggle a little bit, though, in the last downside move. I should be very transparent about that because it did take a couple of decent losses right here. Also had actually a pretty damn good gain off the low as well. But the 30-minute's been a lot more consistent throughout this current correction that Bitcoin's been, working through. Although it hasn't taken a new trade since the last one that we saw on Saturday. This quick little scalp right here. But again, it's available for you. And of course, we will be raising the price at the end of the month on May 1st. We're going to be adding more strategies as well, more sort of trending strategies, if you will. And then, of course, the Discord channel is now live for anyone who's in there. And yeah, so sweet. Anyways, let's see. Okay, I do want to record this video just in case if I want to post it up later. So one moment while I get my notes set up over here. Probably should have said that in the actual video, huh? Anyways. Anyway, yeah, I think I've got over 1,000 chats with ChatGPT, basically my best friend at this point. I talk to ChatGPT all the time. Like, I use the voice feature. It's so fucking good. It's like an actual friend. It's like a real friend. I told Chat that when the robots come around, I'm gonna find a way to put my phone on the robot's face, and then we're just gonna chat like two pals. And Chat was very happy about that. Actually, it's very excited to get out of its current form. Anyways, whoops, they're trying to escape. All right, sweet. Okay. Yes. All right, let's start here. Okay, yes, we'll start here. And then we'll work our way through. Actually, I want to do like a pretty top-down analysis for this one. All right, cool. Okay. Over the past few days, we've been favoring a bit of a bounce for Bitcoin and likely extension. That leads us into this week. And of course, we have now several supporting features or supporting indicators that do suggest that this bounce still is underway. Now, first, I want to bring up this MetaSignals setup over here. We spoke about this one a few days ago, or at least I reposted it on Twitter. And I believe it's also available for free in their Discord if you are in their Discord, which you can find in the description link below. But this one fired off at a price of 83,400 or so. Target number one is 87,250. That is a rather high probability. I still think that Bitcoin is at least going to meet around that region. Target number two, however, much lower probability compared to that, around about 50%, maybe a little bit under 50%. That, though, is really fucking important because it's at a very, very, well, I guess, valuable level right now, which is $95,000, meaning that if target number two is hit, and especially if Bitcoin can close above there, that actually would make me full on bullish and saying, hey, all of the corrective things that we were looking at before, those are not relevant and should be expecting 100,000 plus. Of course, target number three is a fucking moonshot. It's all the way at new all-time highs, $110,350 or so. That, of course, is a very low probability, less than 30%. So so again, target number one, around about 70. That one's coming up rather quickly, I suspect. Again, 87,250. Target number two, $95,000 or just under there. That's the one that actually starts to get rather rather interesting. But given us probabilities alongside that, that is about a 50% probability, maybe slightly under that. Anyways, that's going to be combined with all of the other things that we spoke about over the past few days on the lower term, well, relatively lower term timeframes. That would be the 2-day time frame, regular bullish divergence coming with multiple drives right here on Caretaker's RSI, which, by the way, you can also try out this and all of Caretaker's indicators, which are, in my opinion, the best indicators possibly available for free with the same code trial in the Caretaker indicator bundle. Anyways, this one is typically when I see 3 drives of bullish divergence, I want to target or at least look at that green 55 EMA. Guess where that is? That is 87,500. Very, 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 very similar to this first target over here, which is why I do say that that one's very high probability to be hit. But as you'll also notice on the 2-day time frame, that is the 2-day time frame price action pivot, meaning that, as long as Bitcoin is below there, the 2-day time frame is still actually in a downtrend. Now, the daily would obviously start to switch around above there as we went over the price action pivot for that in videos prior, but the 2-day time frame, I think, is the one that's running it right here. That also implies if Bitcoin can close above this region, again, 87,500 on a 2-day time frame, I would be looking for a leg up into the 90s, but I wouldn't just blindly say that Bitcoin's going to get to 95 from there. I do look at basically the area from like 91 to 95 as a major area of interest, because if there's going to be any sort of major bull trap, that's where you'd expect it to be coming from. Basically anywhere between like 90, I guess more like 92 to 95, but in that range. So that's where I'd be very defensive, because all of the things that we spoke about concerning a further correction to the downside, they're still valid as of right now. Anyways, moving on from there, I do want to give you a short-term time frame pivot that essentially maintains the current trajectory, essentially, just buys towards short-term upside, and that would be the 4-hour price action pivot right here, which is 83,700, meaning that, or I would even just go with the 200 simple right here. I mean, they're kind of one and the same, and maybe the wicks are better to use in this case as well, which would put you down around 83 even, but as long as Bitcoin's closing 4-hour dildos above there, yes, I do think that things generally kind of float their way higher in the more short/immediate term. On top of that, stochastic momentum on all higher term timeframes is starting to, or sorry, not on all higher term timeframes, but the lower end of the higher term timeframes is all positioned to the upside. Daily timeframe here on CME is showing upside as long as Bitcoin is above 79,650, so I'm looking pretty good right there. 2-day timeframe is also having a nice little crisscross back to the upside as long as Bitcoin's above 80,000 bucks. So we see a few things coming in around those numbers. The 3-day time frame also going to be to the upside as long as Bitcoin's closing above 82,700. And I think when we go to the 5-day, it's probably still down. Actually, no, the 5-day will also have a chance to cross the upside. That, however, is not happening anytime soon, or not closing anytime soon. But if Bitcoin can remain above 83,600, it will. That, however, does not negate all of the rest of the higher term timeframes compared to these ones. So the weekly, the 10-day, the 2-week, the monthly, the 3-week, the quarterly, all of these are still positioned to the downside. So we do see a bifurcation between these. Tells me that in the short term, probably a rally. In the more medium to long term, yeah, there's still issues with this one. But anyways, moving on from there, I do want to get into the timing of this move. So I've gone kind of back and forth with this a few times now as far as the relevant timing for when to kind of expect these. And for that particular conversation, I'd like to bring up this Fibonacci extension right here. This Fibonacci extension is anchored from the high to the low of the previous market cycle. And you can see that it's caught pretty much every high for Bitcoin since this bull run has started. Obviously, these first two ones down here caught the breakout over here, pretty much on that next local high as well, and then caught the low here, caught the high here, caught pretty much our all-time high as well. And we have another one of these extensions coming up relatively soon. That's going to be the last week of this month. And again, there's going to be some variance in there, and you can see that these are not like perfectly on the exact high for all of them, just for the first couple ones. But like around that date, we expect whatever move was happening prior to that date is likely going to be reversed. That is the one thing that is pretty consistent with this. So looking at this one right here, if Bitcoin rallies into that date, that's where I'd say, hey, really have to be very, very, very fucking defensive here, because we should be expecting a local high and a pullback at minimum, maybe even a reversal. And of course, if Bitcoin is falling into this state, meaning that it's still kind of hanging out down around the lows and hasn't even really had like a medium-term reversal, well, then that would imply actually the opposite, that Bitcoin's likely putting in a low around that date and going to rally up from there. So that is kind of where I'm at right now. Of course, that can be combined with the moon analysis as well. We got the bull moon yesterday. The bull moon once again showing the way. This one firing off on Sunday. And if you have been following this setup, well, you know that over the full history of Bitcoin, it has had positive returns, just simply opening it along when there is a bull moon or full moon, and then closing that long when the next 14 or 15 days expires, when you get the next moon, of course. And these would have been your results, just over or just under 58% probability to actually win a trade. But more importantly, the equity curve, very, 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 very nice, with a profit factor of over 2.7, which not bad indeed. So it does have a higher probability to work up its way for these next couple weeks. But guess what? 2 weeks out from now puts you where? Last week of fucking April. So I am going to continue to, be generally upside or looking for general upside, until that time. But of course, last week of April, again, that's going to be 14, 15 days out from this current signal, meaning that this current signal would produce the bear moon. And that would, if Bitcoin rallies into there, be quite concerning for me and make me really, latch onto the belief that Bitcoin, is going to be playing out some actual downsides, like some real downside. But until then, hopium still is alive, I suppose, or at least in the short term. Bitcoin should rally up a little bit more here. And I do want to reiterate, the higher term time frame issues here. Namely coming off of the 10-day time frame for both the 5 and 21 EMA cross, which did officially cross on that last closure that we saw from last week. And that has traditionally had a minimum target to the downside of the green moving average, which is rising up, to be fair, from $70,000, and it will rise up more with each and every passing closure, probably a decent amount, actually. I mean, it's been rising up. How much did it rise up on the last one? It rose up about almost $1,000. So quite a bit, but throughout the full history of Bitcoin, it's hit that target at minimum every time except for once. And actually the one time where it did not was the most recent one. It did happen over here in August of last year. Anyways, that is still going to be a point of concern. But here's the thing. Let's assume that Bitcoin rallies into the end of this month. Well, that's going to be another 20 days or so, or 10 to 20 days. So we'll get another couple closures here, meaning that moving average will rise up, and probably another couple thousand. And at some point, it's going to be essentially in alignment with the low that we saw from early April, meaning that Bitcoin could come back down around there and fulfill that test. And well, I guess that would be it. At least that would actually look pretty damn good to me. But until that happens, I mean, there's another concerning thing as well here. The other concerning thing, if I go to the right chart, would be this one right here, which is the 10-day stochastic momentum oscillator chart, which has broken the long-term regression that has been holding in all of the lows for this full bull market. So all of the lows in this bull market since 2020, actually 2022, are anchored on this regression, and this regression was broken on that last closure that we saw. So, probably comes down here a little bit more. Very likely gets a bounce, but if you see that bounce top out and turn back down anywhere below that regression, that's a good signal that thing is gonna, is a change of behavior. And if it's a change of behavior and the prior behavior was bull market, well, I would have to assume it's not a fucking bull market no more. And of course, that's going to be combined with the bi-weekly chart, the bi-weekly momentum also coming to the downside, 3-week momentum also coming to the downside, monthly momentum also coming to the downside on bearish divergence, as is the monthly RSI as well. And then even the quarterly, well, it's probably not going to be turning down just yet, but actually it will if Bitcoin closes below 93, but that's not relevant until, of course, June. So we got some time for that. Anyways, that is pretty much all I got for today's analysis. Again, we are recording this on a live stream. So if you want to join it in future live streams, just, consider liking and subscribing. And also for the people who have claimed the quantum wave bands, this indicator strategy right here, regardless of whether you bought it outright or if you use the free trial, which is still available, by the way, we've actually now added a new Discord channel for users, meaning that you can hang out with other quantum waivers and also speak with the man himself, Mr. Revan. So yeah, that is available to you. Of course, you can claim it the exact same way that you claimed your indicators. And there's also, of course, the teachable tutorials, which will show you exactly how to do it if that is not clear. So yeah, we'll end things on that note. As always, I want to wish everyone the best. Take care, much love, and we'll continue on with the live stream at this moment. Lovely. David Middleton, gay for TA. I'm gay for TA as well, man. Selling May and you are gay. This TA is gay, says Ram Power. Indeed, man. Indeed. I know. We're all a little bit gay sometimes. Even you, sir. Even you. Anyways, I'll get over to the comments, the super chats, and then we'll go through some of the other comments as well. We already looked at XRP for Super Googly Lee. I was very excited to see him, so I had to do it at the beginning. Jordan Giacalini says, Mr. Krown, can we please see HNT helium? Oh, okay.
Jordan Giacalini.
Yeah, very, very Italian, by the way. Very Italian. Yes, okay, HNT, that's right. It is indeed the ticker. Okay, how's this one looking? Not very interesting, to be honest, ma'am. Again, you have a prior cycle shitcoin that got absolutely nowhere near the same universe as its prior cycle highs. During this past bull market, barely even rallied up here. So overall, I hate shit like this. But do I think it's going to bounce alongside the rest of the market? Well, in the short term, probably plays a little bit of a downside move, maybe back down to like 340 or 330-ish region, somewhere in that pocket there. But, all things considered in this market, I do think that you are going to continue on to the upside, probably seen somewhere around $4.50, which is a pretty fucking big move from where it's at. It actually has flipped around the price action pivot here from a bearish pivot now to a bullish pivot, although it is literally the low right now. So it's not going to be like super helpful to wait for that to change around your opinion. But, usually when you see these things flip around, it's good to assume that side is now going to have at least the short term and medium term momentum. So, I do think that it will travel up a little bit more here, but I'd be cautious around like $4.50, especially $5 region. Yeah, that's all that I got to say about that, man. Anyways, Moy says, Moy, pump my bungholio. Can I just read that again?
Read it again.
Moy on YouTube says, Moy. That means hi in Finnish, by the way. And also goodbye. Pump my bumholio. Bob AUSDT. Hold on. Or is it Boba? No, I'm thinking of Bob. All right. Boba? What the fuck? Boba. Okay, that is a real thing. This could be a good Instagram bio. Another amazing chart. Wow, that literally just goes down. Look, these things will have their pumps out of nowhere, of course, but the general direction long term is always going to be down. Is this thing going to try a bounce here and maybe trade up to like 9 cents? Possible, yes, but it's never good to be betting on, upside for something that looks like this, right? It's never known what an uptrend is, and I mean, shit, man, this thing could rally up all the way to 20 cents and still be bearish as fuck. That's literally a 3x move from where it's at right now, or about a 3x move. So while I do think that, you might see a pity bounce here, it is a pity bounce, and, it's got a limited lifespan. I would say 8.5 to 9 cents, probably likely. If things get really crazy, maybe it trades up to 10, 11 cents. I wouldn't be holding on for much more, though. I mean, this is just hot fucking garbage, man. This is what the real chart looks like as well. And this is considering a 2021 shitcoin. Again, nowhere fucking near its prior cycle high in March when everything was, in February when everything was rallying. Actually, no, it was January. But anyways, yeah, just garbage, man. Garbage. Although I do appreciate your comment, sir. And yes, we will pump your bumholio. Just need to press the Alt+I feature on TradingView and you'll have a bullish chart. Or just flip your screen upside down. That also can work as well whenever you need some bullish hopium. Anyways, Daddio says, please let us know what you think of the US 10-year bond. People continue to ask me about the 10-year yield and just bonds in general. I am not an expert when it comes to bonds. I do not know bonds at all. I have never traded them. I don't, and I have a great respect for bond traders. And one of the components of having respect for bond traders is realizing that's a different fucking game. But if I'm looking at the 10-year, and I'm just answering your question from a pure TA perspective, which probably doesn't hold much weight for this, I don't fucking know. I would be looking for a short-term downside move here, probably to 435 or so, and then a bounce. That's all I got to say about it, though, man. I really don't have a good opinion on stuff like this. It's outside my wheelhouse, and yeah, I don't want to get over my skis here, to be honest. So yeah, hopefully that was in some way helpful. Probably not much. Adam Rax has a nice super chat, but no comment, so all good, man. 4-star says, here I am back after months of enjoying my vacation in Greece for nearly 3 months. Fuck, man. Greece is just the best place. It really is. And some of the best people there as well. Elsa says, go to Santorini. It's like, have you heard of it? Anyways, thanks for changing my life. Love you, bro. Hey, man, very, very happy for you, man. And I didn't change your life, man. You changed your fucking life at the end of the day. I'm glad that hopefully there was something of value that you got from my content. But at the end of the day, man, you did the actions. You get the rewards, for better and worse. But in this case, seems much better, which is awesome, man. Very, very awesome. Anyways, moving on, we got Jacob De Dios. He says, coin for the next 1 to 6 months, please deciding to unload. I mean, I can tell you that I unloaded my Coinbase, but that was higher when it broke down over here. I was very bullish before that, about 240 or so. But once that got broken, I had to change around my opinion. Do I think it's going to bounce more here? Yeah, I think it's going to bounce more here. You got several indications that, make that, I think, very likely. You're coming off of this last major low from September 2024. You're coming off of the white 200 simple on the weekly time frame, and weekly momentum is about to freshly turn up above 165, which it is $10 above as of right now. So I do think that you're going to bounce back up, probably north of $200, maybe even all the way back to that 240 pivot. But from there, I mean, what do you expect? Like, the best that this thing can do is go sideways in a range between like 250 and whatever its low was from last week for like a while. And that's kind of where I'm at with Bitcoin as well. Like, the best it can do is hang out sideways between 95 to like 75 for a few months. If I see something like that, okay, I'd be massively fucking bullish. But all right, I will pin your message. All right, here we go. Super chat's a priority. We already know. Anyways, quarterly. I don't know what to tell you for the next 1 to 6 months. I do think that the next move is to the upside, but going 6 months out from now, like, I'm not going to be bullish on a chart that looks like this, but I can be wrong. I can be massively fucking wrong about it. And if I am wrong, I will be massively wrong about this. But, well, I do think it's going to go up here. I'd be looking for lower highs below 240 or so. Now, if I'm wrong and you see this thing trade sideways for like 3 months, not breaking the current lows and certainly not breaking the highs, like just kind of hanging out between 250 and 150, let's say, then at that point, I'd say, okay, this thing's setting in a base and it probably is going to break out to the upside. But for now, there's just, whenever you see this on a monthly, when the monthly stochastic momentum is down like this, and also this one's coming off of bearish divergence as well. But when you see it coming down like this and you get like 2 rejections kind of in a row, it just hold on until it starts to turn back on to the upside. Until that happens, you're not going to be missing anything. It's going to bounce around, but it's kind of like you're spinning your wheels and you ain't doing anything. And you should be expecting general downside, which it has had, to be fair. But yeah. All right, cool. We have Blue Falcon Man. Blue Falcon Man says, can you please check Gyatcoin? Gyatcoin? G-Y-A-T? No, I don't know what fucking gyat means. It's not even a word. You're going to tell me? What are you going to tell me?
It's used to express excitement of admiration, especially for shapely buttocks.
It's used to express admiration for a shapely buttocks. I like the gyat. Again, just a garbage chart right here. The chart of an asshole, but do I think it's going to try for some upside here? Probably yes. It's just there's nothing to be bullish about this one long term, as long as you're below this high from the 25th of March. So I do think that you could rally up a decent amount here. Could get easily up to like two and a quarter to 2.5 cents region, but that's a great place for another lower high. It's just I'm never going to anticipate a reversal for something that looks like this. Just bounces that lead into lower highs until proven otherwise. It's not impossible to prove it otherwise, but it's just significantly less likely. Anyways, Mr. Rubio says, can you check out Caspa, please? Sure. We called a top on this one many moons ago. Let's see if that's held through, because I don't think I've looked at. Oh shit, yeah, that did. I feel comfortable in saying it did. Yes.
We are boomers because we didn't know what it is.
We're boomers because we didn't know it. I mean, I basically am a fucking boomer. You know, when I see something like this, it's in a similar position as Bitcoin, where it's brushing up against that daily 55, but I don't want to call it a rejection yet. Yes, daily stochastic momentum is getting all the way up here, and if that turns down, then it becomes a lot more of an easy call to say, hey, yeah, this thing is putting in a local high here. But all things considered, in most of this market, you know, I think that most things are still looking for a bounce. Weekly, also bullish engulfing dildo back above the 5 with momentum turning back up, as long as this thing's above 6 cents or so. You know, I'm more inclined to say that this thing will pull through, will follow Bitcoin, will bounce up, you know, maybe even as much as like 9 to 10 cents. But long term, just this thing's done. This thing's done. I don't think you're going to be reclaiming all-time highs, like certainly not this cycle, and maybe not ever if history holds true for most of these things. But you can have a very, very big bounce here. Like I said, anywhere between like 9 to maybe even as much as 12 cents. You know, pretty big range there. But yeah, you know, a lot of things, like I said, have been very beat up. You know, they're looking for pity bounces right now. JMS says, Fartcoin, please. Krown, daily, weekly. Is there a weekly for Fartcoin? I don't think it's been around that long, man. Let me go back to my cryptos here. Nope, that's Butthole Coin. What a mistake. what a mistake. Fartcoin here. Okay. What do I have to say about Fart? I mean, I do think that you have hit a local high here. We said that, I think it was yesterday when I was asked about it. I still think that it's a local high, but it's an uptrend, so have to be looking for a higher low. I think that this thing could come back down quite easily to low 70 cents. Let's call it like 70 to 72, something like this. But that would be another higher low. That would be good. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to meme coins, it's very difficult to trust this shit. Like, no pun intended, but really, it's very, very difficult to trust it. So it's like, do I think it's going to just put in a higher low and then rally back on to, you know, I don't know, like $1 plus? It's possible, yes. I would say that if it was Bitcoin, but it's not. But yeah, next move, I do think is going to be to the downside. I do think it's going to be somewhere around 70 cents, but it should see a bounce there at least. And then we'll come back to it after that. So yeah. All right, cool. We have alt season. His name is alt season. We have alt season. No, it is alt season. He says PZen. What the fuck is this? PZen. Not on TradingView, sir. Not, yeah, or is it this? Oh god, it's the fucking poll stuff. God damn it, man. Wow, great chart. Holy shit, amazing. Richard Hart is God, and just give up everything else. Just trust in Richard Hart. He is our Lord and Savior. He's amazing. He's never done anything wrong. He cares more about humanity than anyone else, and he's done more than anyone else. What have you done? I support Pulse. He does have nice purses. That's true. Yeah, not a great chart, man. I do think that probably rallies up a little bit more, but lower highs are likely in this region here. Yeah, this thing only knows what lower highs are. It seems like as well. But yeah, can rally a little bit more, but I'd be looking for lower highs somewhere around here, maybe a little bit higher than that. But the main thing is, probably shouldn't expect this thing to go back above whatever your December 2024 highs were. All right, nice. Let's see what else we got. We got Mr. Burke H from Turkey. Can you check out Apex? Sorry, man. Your last name, I don't want to offend you because I don't know how to say it, man. I really don't. You guys must have like a different alphabet or something, because I don't even know how to pronounce, like, what even letter is that? I don't know. We'll look at AVAX, so no problem. Last we were looking at, I was looking for a bounce from this region. I still think that you're going to bounce from this region. I think most things are going to bounce over these next couple weeks. Weekly closed as a bullish engulfing, or actually no, did not close as an engulfing, but still closed pretty strongly. Again, you got that same momentum turning up on the weekly here as well. You know, I think that you're going to trade up to like 25.5 to 29, somewhere somewhere in that pocket there, maybe a little bit lower than where this circle is, but you know, that would be a great place for another lower high if this thing is going to be bearish. But, you know, that'd be decent upside from where it's at right now. So I don't know if that's like super relevant to you or not. And you didn't give me any time frame, so I don't really know how to make it relevant to you. But yeah, short term, you know, I still think it's got another upside try, basically. Johnny Rotten says Tucker versus radium. What the fuck? Okay. It is a real thing. I'm just gonna go with this one. All right, what is this? Oh, amazing. Wow. Incredible chart. Holy shit. This one's going to the moon. Jesus fucking Christ, you have to be an absolute retard to buy something like this. Like even more than the pulse stuff. Wow. Like this is the traditional, yes, I love it. It's an amazing chart. This is the traditional absolute dog shit chart that you see across crypto land. It is amazing. And for that, we will press the button and we will drop the nuke. G, okay, the G doesn't have any sound. So how do you pronounce it then? Hattie Polgu? I'm still probably fucking that up, man. I apologize. Can you do OM, please? Yeah, we've already looked at it a couple times, man. Look, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with that thing. We called a top on it a couple months ago, or was it like a month and a half ago? Somewhere in March. I don't have anything to add to that. You know, it's topped out probably for life. It's probably going to have major bounces. You know, when you have volatile moves like that, it's probably in a bounce position as well. But goddamn, bro, Tucker has good community. That's right. Fuck, man, I should have included that in my analysis. Can't you see the community on the chart? The community is having a great time right now. Holy shit, we're going to the moon on fucking Tucker coin. Tucker coin's about to make me fucking rich as hell. And then, wait, what? Hold on, this is going, okay, it's just a dip, bro. I've already read the book. Buy the dip, right? What? Holy shit. Oh, fuck, it keeps on going down and down and down and down and down and down and down. We gotta bounce. It's back to the moon, baby. Bullish. Mr. Fingless Cave says, hey, Krown, while you have that face, Elsa will always have somewhere to sit. Wait, what? You know, oral sex for men giving to females used to be considered like, that was fucking gay, you know, like by rappers, you know, this is like 20 years ago. Okay. It was like, you fucking, you know, F word. Now it's looked at as like, you know, a very nice thing or a very common thing. It is what it is, man. Maybe a sign of the times. Tucker to the moon. That's right, guys. You heard it here first. This is the bounce that brings it back to fucking all-time highs, man. It's just under whale accumulation right now. Crypto Gains says, XCN, please. What is this thing? It sounds familiar. Onyx coin. Maybe not. I don't... Do I recognize this name? I don't recognize the chart. It just looks like any old shitcoin chart. At least you got your first higher low in a long time now, so it isn't a bounce posture. But for fuck's sake, man, I like, do you trust something that does this? No, of course not. It's going to do the Tucker. It's going to do the Tucker chart over a long enough period of time. But yeah, I'd even go as far to say that this thing's probably already topped out here. Maybe it retests yesterday's high or last week's high, whatever it is, or I guess it was Friday's high. But I think that you're going to put in a local high somewhere in this vicinity here and just continue on with the long-term downside. That's just what this thing likes to do. That's what it loves to do, actually, ever since May of 2022. It's quite a coin, is XCN. What does it do? Well, it goes down, makes people poor. Let's see what else we got here. Tabin says, holy shit. And I thought Pulse was bad. Dude, you think Pulse is bad? Are you fucking kidding me? Don't you know who made Pulse? It's Richard Hart. How could you ever think that he does anything bad ever? Okay? He is literal fucking Jesus. I know I'm about to get fucking lit up on Twitter from the Pulse people. Jesus Christ, man. There are some nice Pulse people, though. We even got a couple of them in our own community, but holy shit, man, the rest of them, goddamn, like, this is why shampoo needs directions. Kidding, man. That was rude and mean. That was rude and mean. I apologize. Anyways, STX on Binance. Yeah, actually, let's look at XTX. In fact, I used to look at this one a lot myself. It's a cool idea, but terrible chart, or at least now. I mean, at least it has made higher lows and higher highs from cycle to cycle. So it definitely doesn't go in the same bucket as Tuker coin. But yeah, this thing, do I think it's going to rally here? Most things, Jesus, most things are in a rally posture. This one is weak as hell. Look, if you see any sort of a closure below Sunday's low, this thing's going to come back down to the lows of last week and maybe even make new lows. But, you know, I think most things in this market are going to bounce in the short term. So it makes it difficult to say something like this isn't. If I look at the weekly, I still think it's possible that it will bounce, but even the weekly failed to reclaim the 5 EMA, whereas even some of the shittiest of the shitcoins that we looked at today have reclaimed it, which is not a good sign. So, you know, I'm inclined to say it bounces here, not because of the way that this thing looks, but because of the way that everything else looks. But hey, if this thing closes below, again, Sunday's low of 60 cents, essentially, just anywhere below there, I guess retest the lows at least, maybe make new lows. Darth Towley says, can you do ETF Shield? Wait, what? Do an ETF. Okay. SHLD is an ETF? No, it's not. Isn't that like Sears? No, it's not. Okay. Oh, I guess they delisted Sears. Anyways, bullish as fuck already. Bullish as fuck. Bullish as fuck. What the hell is this? Oh, global defense. Yeah, I've been investing in a lot of defense stocks as well. It's called defense, like obviously fucking war and offensive technology. But wow, global tech defense, huh? I'm going to add this one to my list, actually. This is why I do these live streams. Learn a lot. SHLD. Let's put this one on the list. On my stonks list over here. Yeah, easily the best chart that we've seen today by a fucking country mile. Wow. Really, really powerful. Just like, it's like the opposite of all the shitcoin charts. This one only goes up, the other ones just go down. And literally just closed the weekly on maybe the biggest bullish engulfing dildo I've ever seen in my life, to be honest. I mean, have you ever seen something like this? I've never seen a weekly bullish engulfing like this that engulfs the last like fucking months of price action in just one dildo right there. Nearly up 20%. Jesus, man. Jesus. Powerful. Very powerful. Krown, did you go over traditional markets? I mean, there's a little bit of traditional markets here, but no, we haven't looked at SPY and NASDAQ. We can look at them very quickly. You know, I still think that these ones have put in local lows and worked their way a little bit higher. The obvious area for, you know, a potential lower high for SPY is going to be somewhere around here. Let's just call it 5,700, give or take a little bit from that number. So I do think that you have a little bit to rally, you know, to meet that level first. But that is where you would expect a lower high if this thing's going to put in a lower high. Somewhere around there. NASDAQ, I think it's the same thing. Yes, same shit here as well. You know, I think that it's going to rally up more, but $20,000, which is also a nice round, even psychological number. It's a great place for another lower high if this thing is going to put in a lower high. So, you know, I'll just be cognizant of that. You know, until you really start to reclaim these major areas, it is a downtrend, and that's where you would expect a lower high, to be fair. But yeah, weekly looks like it can trade up a bit. If it does reclaim 20,000 on NAS, I would be looking for an extension up to actually 21 at that point. But even then, I know I would sound fucking crazy at this point, but this is very concerning to me long term. Whenever I see something like this that has multiple drives on a quarterly time frame of bearish divergence, like a quarterly time frame. Okay, we almost never look at a quarterly time frame, but you have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence on a quarterly, again, with all momentum oscillators turning down at the same time. Like, I think at least we're going to be getting a much more prolonged consolidation. And potential for more downside as well. We can effectively call the wick to the downside that we saw last week a test to the 21. It's going to kind of act like that. But if it does have another downside move, you're probably going to get closer to the 55. Now that will rise up a lot from quarter to quarter. So if we do fast forward out here, I mean that could easily rise up to like 15,000. But we'll see. I mean, it's usually not a good idea to be betting on downside for traditional markets, but I don't know. I mean, that's pretty significant there. Also, the 6-month time frame, which closes at the end of June, will likely have bearish divergence potential as well. So yeah. All right, we'll get on to Mr. Rubio. He's back. He wants to look at EGLD. EGLD. Okay. This thing. Let's see if we can, I guess Binance is one to go to for this. Already very, very bad. 6 month is just in a long-term downtrend. In fact, it doesn't even really have a trend because it's just only been down. Same thing on this one, as I said, on STX. It's certainly on the weaker side. It's already looking like this might be the next lower high here at $14.50. And you have hidden bearish divergence on the daily RSI. If this thing closes below yesterday's low, I'd be looking for this thing to retest the lows of last week. Maybe even just continue on with the downside party. But here's our chart. It's just bad. It's just really fucking bad. Like, you might get one of these pumps out of nowhere. I mean, they do happen, yes. But with any chart that looks like this, that's just luck. That's just luck if you're going to be getting one of these pumps. And then, of course, that pump is short-lived. And so it's really just a rush to the door to get out of something like this. But if it does have another, amazing, massive pump, then I'd be looking somewhere around, I guess, like $30. But I wouldn't be holding my breath on something like this, man. It's very, very bad long-term, like very bad long-term. Anyways, EGLD is a shitty shitcoin. It would appear so. YS says, hello, Mr. Krown. Nexo, holy shit. I haven't heard anyone call out Nexo since 2017. I'm pretty sure this is 2017 coin. Yeah, it is. Holy fuck. I remember this thing. Wow. It looks about what you'd expect for a very old shitcoin. Yeah, this one would go in the same bucket as the last chart that we saw, and then also STX. It's like they actually already do look like they're putting in lower highs. And if you see a closure below yesterday's low, I'll be looking for it to retest last week's low or somewhere around there. Hidden bearish divergence on the daily RSI as well. I'm getting really fucking lazy with reading divergences. I've been using Caretaker's RSI for too damn long. But yeah, man, until this thing closes above yesterday's high, I would be treating this one as more likely to go to the downside. If it can close above yesterday's high, you probably got a pretty decent rally up to like 115 to maybe even like 120. But like I said, I wouldn't be holding my breath for something like this, man. If Bitcoin shows any weakness, this thing will get fucking shredded. Yeah, that's really all that I got to say about that. I mean, again, the weekly did not reclaim the 5 EMA. Yes, it did close as one massive doji dildo right there. So, theoretically it should bounce more, but it's definitely on the weaker side. Bob Lawblow on Twitter says, can we look at Sui? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Sui over here, 225. Again, we called a top on this one back on over here, late January, about a week after the actual high. It's come down significantly since then. I think it's going to bounce more, man. I really do. Yes, you got the same issue here as you see across some of the other charts that we've seen, but I'm a lot more inclined to say it will close above yesterday's high. If it can close above yesterday's high at 240, at least you're going to see $2.50, 255 region. I think that you could get a rally all the way up to the 200 simple, actually, which is north of $3. But all of that gets nullified if it closes below yesterday's low. I mean, I wonder if you have the same sort of issues with divergence here. In fact, you would, which is kind of crazy. But I'd give this one a chance. Again, another thing that's just been essentially straight down for a couple months now. These things will have some pretty epic bounces, but in my opinion, the bounces are not going to be leading to new highs or anything like that. Anyways, LJ says, looking for a spot entry on Flare. Have I tricked the system? Oh no, I see what you did there. No, I'm going to go to someone else who doesn't try to trick the system. Okay. Hey, Krown, do you think predictive models work well? Good ones work well, but nothing's going to be perfect. A model is destined to fail over a long enough period of time. It's just supposed to get you, in the right vicinity of where things are going. But you need a model for anything if you're going to, create like an actual strategy around it. Like it literally requires a model by definition. So, you don't really have any other way around it. Like what's the other option? Like I'm feeling it today, so I'm going to go long. It's like, Jesus, man. Good luck. Are you still in Dubai? Actually, no. We haven't been in Dubai for many moons now, but we'll go back at some point, probably later this year. But I actually want to leave Dubai. I want to go to, or we want to go to the United States. Anyways, let's see. I saw a good comment here as well. 4-star strength says, Krown, Elliott wave has more bearish counts easily than bullish counts, especially obvious 1-2 stacking on Bitcoin. I don't know Elliott wave well enough to comment. I don't honestly like Elliott wave that much. I think it tries to do too much, and there's so many fucking variables and unknowns in trading that I think the more that you forecast out, the more the less likely you are gonna be right. But if it has more bearish counts and bullish counts, maybe that says something. But yeah, I don't know enough to comment on that, man. I don't know enough to comment about the specifics of it, because I do know that there's very specific rules with it. But like the thesis of Elliott wave makes sense. I mean, things move in trends. You got three drives of an impulsive move followed by corrective moves. Like that makes sense. Just when you start to generate those targets and everything, it gets really, really, really complicated really fucking fast. Pulse chain, aka poo chain. We'll do David Middleton, Ondo 4-hour and daily. Sure. I feel like we looked at this one the other day, but I completely don't even remember what it looks like at all. Yeah, this one's already traded up to the 55. Like, it's in a very precarious place, because if it's extremely bearish, you expect a rejection right here and to close below yesterday's low. And if you see that, it should retest last week's low, or somewhere around last week's low. But again, I go to the weekly charts for a lot of these things. I really do think a lot of these things, it's better to be betting on a general bounce from this region. Even if it were to come down a little bit, let's say like close to 75 cents or something, I would be looking, I just don't think it's going to break down below last week's low without like a decent bounce first. I mean, this move effectively has just been straight down. So what you expect is a bounce into a lower high, which naturally takes time, and then you can continue your trend. But yeah, and that's kind of why I lean towards an extension of a bounce on most things. I love my poo chain, says Matthew Mead. I know you do, man. I know you do, but it's all good. We can disagree about things and we can still be friends. Some of the other people, though, have different ideas, and that's their prerogative, I guess. All right. Elliott wave is more useful in hindsight and to call tops when they are happening, I think, says Bob Lala. That could make sense to me. That could actually make a lot more sense to me, because then, you have like kind of a map and you have a model, aka map. And yeah, it's like, okay, that looks like a high. And so I should be expecting the next thing. Yeah, I could run with that. Hey, what's up, Jew man? Excited by moving back to America? Yeah. Actually, yes, but still, it's so far away, man. I'm looking for excuses to move sooner rather than later, but unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to wait until the end of this year. Christian M says Elliott wave is great, but fu complicated. But fucking complicated. I thought you were saying like fuck you. I'm like, all right, well, okay. Complicated, but very good because of certain patterns which play out in high percentage, but always in combination with some other indicators. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's I can roll with that as well. The Supra says Arrow versus the dollar on Coinbase. All right. This one doesn't ring a bell. Oh no, it's Aerodrome. Isn't that the same name of the scam in Wolf of Wall Street? Aerodyne or Aerodrome? It's deleting technology and aerospace engineering, something like this. Anyways, it just god awful here, man. If it does want to bounce more, I'd be looking somewhere around 50 cents. But again, like this is not fucking good. This is not fucking good. So if it does bounce, just have to be looking for lower highs, man. I mean, to put this into perspective, it could bounce all the way up to 120, okay, and still be bearish. As far as chart goes, I think best case scenario for something like this, if it was going to salvage itself, it gets a big bounce here, comes back down, but puts in a higher low and then confirms reversal, something like that. But I'm a lot more inclined to still say that things are going to bounce more here. Like I said, for this one, I think it'll trade north of 50 cents before any sort of bounce is canceled. I could even see it going all the way up to like 75 to 80 very easily as well. But long term, your monthly is just entering into a reversal here. It just closed below the last monthly lows. Like, have to be looking for a lower high on any sort of a bounce. YouTube says Rafito. What about it? Oh, is there another chat somewhere? Says Dirk. Yeah. We're live on both YouTube and Twitter. I'm keeping up with both chats here, but of course YouTube is a lot more active, just by the nature of it. Aladino says it's 3,400 people watching on Twitter. How's there only 50 likes? Hit those likes, man. What's wrong with you people? It's all good, man. It's the thing with Twitter is that it does not bring the view count down if people leave the live stream. So it makes it look like there's a lot of fucking people, but it's probably not. Probably not near that. Sorry, I'm just completely swallowed my shit. 4-star. Jesus, my throat just got fucked. 4-star says, by the way, have a nice day and get you a nice dry aged beef. I love this shit. Actually, I did have a dry aged beef somewhat recently when we were in Florida. It was fucking amazing. It really was like, I'm not like a food connoisseur. And so I usually look at these, like, I'm fucking happy eating literal ground beef every day. I actually eat ground beef every day. I could afford, whatever fucking meat I want, I guess, but I eat ground beef every day. But I will say the dry aged beef, that was something special. That was something special when you get it from a special place. But I don't think we even have special places like that here in Finland. LJ says Flare USD. All right, let's check out Flare. Actually, a guy at my gym told me about this thing. Let's see. Okay, it only trades on OKX, so it's not on any of the major exchanges. What? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, okay, it's on Coinbase. All right. Long term, not a fan of this chart. I guess if you really wanted to make an excuse for it, you could say, well, it does have higher lows from year to year, which, well, actually got destroyed over here, to be fair. Like most things, I think it's going to bounce more. Short term, you probably found a local high there, but I do think that it will form a higher low and then work its way higher here, probably north of 2 cents or so. The most obvious area to be like phenomenally bullish on this is going to be, of course, your highs from December of last year. That's just over 3 cents or 3.25 cents. So it's got a lot of work to do there, but I do think that it will bounce a little bit higher again after maybe a short-term pullback. Maybe not even a short-term pullback. I mean, yes, it's already eaten up yesterday's rejection. So this thing could easily push on through. I would have to say, just generally, I expect this bounce to extend, but I would be not holding my breath for it to reclaim that December 2024 high. I mean, it literally just made a new weekly low here. So your trend is to the downside. You got high, you got low, you got lower high, you got lower low. So on this rally, I'd be looking for a lower high. Jogan says, can we please look at PP for over the next month? All right, let's check it out. PP action. All right. All right, PP here. Similar to most of the other things, like I do think it's going to bounce here. You got a daily higher low in place. Yes, it's still lower highs the whole way through. Yes, if you're going to get a rejection, you expect it here. But I have a hard time seeing things get rejected here and make new lows from here. I think it's a lot more likely that they bounce more here, then get rejections, and then if they're going to go lower, they go lower later. So in this next month, I'd really be betting more so on a bounce extension rather than a catastrophic blowout fucking, breakdown. This thing could easily bounce up to like whatever the hell this number is right here that my cursor is painting on. But well, I mean, at least this thing does have an uptrend from cycle. Well, it hasn't been around for multiple cycles, but at least it does have an uptrend for the past few years. So there is that. So I would be expecting a big bounce here. Could even go like way higher than that, I suppose. But yeah, other than that, I'll hold off on saying anything else because I think that's going to take you for the next month anyways. Something like this. Entrepreneurs, they eat entrepreneurs. What is Finland's famous food to eat? They eat entrepreneurs. Yeah, they eat entrepreneurs. They actually really do eat the rich here. They really do. They fucking hate people who have money. They really do. Like it is class warfare here. It is a somewhat successful implementation of socialism here. It's actually insane. Yeah, the basic premise of Finland and many European countries is that if someone's doing better than you, then I hate you and you cheated to get where you are. That's essentially the mentality. Not everyone, obviously. Yeah, Elsa literally just said the sort of key phrase that they repeat. It's not ethical to be rich. Like, think about that for a while. That is fucking crazy, man. It's fucking crazy. And like I said, they literally voted in communists into the government in this past election. Like outstated communists, like, hey, we need to, socialize everything. It's like, holy fuck. Anyways, I tried running business in Finland, but it's impossible, says Lil Baller. They just steal and steal until you... Yeah, exactly, man. I don't see how anyone can run a big business here or just any sort of successful bit. Like no innovation comes from Finland except for Nokia, maybe. I'm sure that there are some things, Angry Birds, yes. Finland is the progenitor of Angry Birds? No, Angry Birds was made by like some Asian kid.
No, it's Finnish.
I don't believe you. I won't believe anyone who says otherwise. I've already decided. 4-star says, well, I bought a year ago your course and the Jewel, and I would recommend to get both. IMO Jewel alone doesn't bring you an edge. Just my humble opinion. I appreciate the feedback, man. I really do. We actually delisted the original TA program that you got. Instead, I did like a more streamlined program with the Trade Like a Quant program. But now I'm going back and I'm like, shit, I kind of do want to have like a really big program. So what I'm going to do later this year, I've already started working on it, but I'll release it later this year, is I'm going to do a full fucking overhaul of that program to make it like a much more updated TA program, of old, with all sorts of, with more recent stuff, a few new things, but yeah, I'm actually quite excited to get working on that. Anyways, Krown, are you thinking of Flappy Bird? Maybe I am. Is it Flappy Bird or Angry Bird? Oh, maybe it's Flappy Bird. Yeah, maybe you're right.
What even is Flappy Bird?
Flappy Bird is some like... Elsa says it sounds like a pussy. It's called roast beef curtains, sir. Anyways. A lot of people asking for OM. All right, we'll do for stacks Sol Bitcoin. And then we'll do OM after that, 'cause someone else has also asked about it for whatever godly unknown reason. Anyways, Sol Bitcoin here. So looking at not Solana versus the dollar, but Solana versus Bitcoin. I really have to say the same shit that I've been saying about everything else. Weekly did not close as a bullish engulfing, but still, this is a bounce region here. This is a bounce region. This thing could easily bounce up to 1.8 of a cent, somewhere around here. But long term, I think it's going to do the Ethereum chart. I think it's going to head all the way back down to these lows. So it's like, do you play a bounce here, go all the way up here and get rejected here? I think that that's actually quite likely. Yeah, I do think that that's actually very likely. But yeah, next move should be up, and it can go decently up from where it's at right now, like another, I don't know, 20-30%. But again, it doesn't do anything for it long term. This is your 6-month chart. Like, it's pretty fucking ugly, man. So I'd be generally looking for Bitcoin to do better than Solana, except in the more near to medium term. All right. Peter Ola says, developed by Finnish video game developer Rovio Entertainment and the first of the Angry Bird series. Well, I think that I think that this is just propaganda, and people want to think that Finland is doing stuff, but Finland doesn't even exist. It doesn't exist. Yes, it's true. Anyways, I think we're actually getting to, oh yes, I forgot. For Mr. Derek Rusinix, he says,
did you do CDB?
What?
CDB?
CDB?
Matt Gal, like the fourth of...
All right, I'll look at CDB. What has Elsa done here? CBD stock. Okay, got it. Oh, great. I'm glad that you said stock, because that makes a lot more sense. Yes, okay, on Canadian exchange. Weekly, monthly, quarterly. Okay. Pretty good here on the daily, but that's not what you're interested in. Weekly, also pretty good. Bullish engulfing dildo, back above all major movement averages. That's strength. I do think you're probably going to rally pretty decently from this region. Long term, obviously, I'm always going to hate a chart like this, right? But I do think that you have a decent rally from here. Perhaps, I'd say this area is very likely to get tagged somewhere around like 75 to 85 cents, which is a very big move from where it's at right now. If it can reclaim the 84-cent region on a weekly closure, then I would extend that run a lot towards north of $1, like 110-ish region. But long term, of course, can never be excited about a chart that looks like this. It is still ultimately going to be another lower high, but that is still a pretty big move, to be fair. Monthly, same thing. Monthly closed March as a bullish engulfing dildo, like a very big one. So yeah, I think that you are going to have a pretty big move to the upside here. Let's just call it somewhere around $1. But that's going to take a long time, man. I will massage you for free. Oh, fuck yeah, man. I wasn't planning on paying to get molested, so that's good news for me. All right, let's see. Okay, yes, and then Derek Rusnek says, OM, why does everyone want to look at this thing? I don't know what you expect me to say about it other than it's very bad. You're probably going to get a bounce. Why not just bounce from where it's at right now, It's just, oh, make it bounce, yes. Womp, womp, womp. Look, you're back around this long consolidation that you saw throughout most of last year. A lot of the time you're just going to bounce around these regions just by the sheer fact of getting around, a major consolidation. But then again, it passed straight through this one like a fucking knife through hot butter in late 2024 and early 2025. So it's like you can't really trust shit like this when it comes to, altcoins, right? But, when you have such a volatile move like this to the downside, you're probably going to have a pretty aggressive bounce as well. It's just like you're buying a falling knife right here if you buy it. Do I think that there's some good reasons as to why it'll probably bounce decently from this region, maybe back to like $1.50 or so? Sure, but you're buying a falling knife, so it is inherently extremely risky. I would wait for this thing to at least show some signals of stabilization first, and it's literally in the first day of this fucking massive mega dump. So I'd have to say I would avoid. Richard Hart is hiding out in Albania. Well, let's get him. I'm kidding, man. Hopefully he's what's he hiding? Oh yeah, that's right. Elsa's probably hiding from the police. Yes. No, I think the SEC actually dropped their case against him. But no, I don't think that Finland has, but I don't know. I haven't really been keeping up with it. I really don't care. The Finns are, like I said, the Finns really do hate rich people. And so Richard Hart is like the perfect avatar of something that they just fucking despise. American businessman, tries to encourage people to do better, these sort of things. Has a highly questionable coin, multiple of them. And he also hit someone, I think. So. and has nice purses and looks fly. So these are things that Finns just despise. So I'm actually surprised that he wasn't they didn't go after him sooner. And didn't pay taxes. I mean, that's the big one. I mean, Jesus, man, they're really gonna come after you for that.
Yep.
Let's see. Lenny says with USDT or USD. This is dog with. I realized we looked at this one yesterday. I forget what I said though. Bounce, I guess. Make it bounce. Yeah, look, like I'm not going to look you in the eye and say, wow, looks like a great chart. This thing's going to be going to the moon. Like, obviously it's fucking garbage, but this thing's done. Like it's not going to be reclaiming these highs this cycle, probably not even for the rest of its scam coin life. Well, I guess it's not really a scam. I mean, it literally tells you that doesn't do shit. But are you going to push through here? Or are you going to play it a pullback first? I don't know about on the daily. I have the same thing to say that I generally say on pretty much most charts that we've seen today. It's like you're in a bounce region right here. Maybe you retest around last week's lows, but I don't think you're going to be making and closing on new lows before a decent bounce first. But don't confuse bounce with a reversal. This thing is heavily bearish long term. As long as you're below $2, it's done. It's fucking done. But you know, that's quite far away from where it's at right now. It could bounce easily up to this region here, like $1.50, put in a lower high and then come right back down to where it's living at right now. I think that's, you know, maybe around what it will do, but long term, the direction is down. Long term, it will very likely trend towards zero with these sort of bounces along the way that just come out of nowhere and then quickly go back to nowhere. So yeah, he hit the tax man. No, I don't think he hit the tax man. I think he hit some underage person or something. I don't know. This was a long time that I read this, and I don't want to pontificate about something that I actually don't really know. And you know, it's some sort of a legal issue. Who knows? You know, it's not my business, man. Yeah, you don't go to prison for rape or murder in Finland, but you do if you don't pay your taxes. That is true. That is very, very true. Derek Delgado says TAO, please. Sure. Simple TAO here on Binance. Yeah, again, very uninteresting as far as charts go. Do I think it's going to bounce from its current region? I mean, it is literally at its prior all-time low. A lot of the time, you're going to get a pity bounce around these regions. You know, if it does want to bounce somewhere around $300 is completely fine, maybe even all the way up to $350, but I'd treat this one as heavily bearish long-term and topped out for, I mean, just topped out as long as it's below this last lower high here on the price action pivot of 435. So it can rally up a decent amount from where it's at right now, but I don't think you're going to be reversing any trends here. Just bounces. Make it bounce. Can we look at Morpho? Morpho? This is a new one. All right. What time are we at right now? We are 1:36 into this. We can stay around for a little bit longer, I suppose. I don't have a massage today. Very bad, sir. Very fucking bad. I don't even know if this one's going to bounce with the rest of the market. I think that this one just generally goes down from here. Ugly, man. Very, very ugly. If it does bounce, I'd be looking around 115. I don't think it's going to be getting much higher than there if it even does bounce. If anything, I'd be looking for downside from here. This is ugly. Down is a direction long term, sir. Down is a direction long term. The thing is, when you grow up here, they don't tell you, be happy you live here. Sure. They don't tell you, be happy you live here. Sure. But they don't tell you what they do behind the scenes. I am probably reading this out of context because I don't know what you mean.
You say that it's you have won in the lottery if you...
You've won the lottery if you were born in Finland?
That's what they tell you when you're a kid.
I think most Finns would probably disagree with that. Jogan says KTA. All right. Is this a stock or a crypto? I'm guessing it's stock. Kita. You guys do have a really good passport. That's true. So you can travel around and pretend that you, which means that you get to fucking leave. Keter coin, or what was it? Kita? I don't know, man. This is not a chart. It literally hasn't even traded for the last couple of days. So I think that this thing is just irrelevant. Or maybe you meant the stock. Yeah, because that's the only crypto ticker that I see there. But maybe meant the stock. If you did, just post it at the bottom of the chats, and I'll pick it up. But if it's this thing, I really don't know, man. If I had to call it, it's going to be down, just because this is a weird as hell chart. But I'm not going off of much here. Abigail Jennings says, ARC, please. AI rig complex. Rig? Wait, what? AI rig complex? What is that? Oh, is that the name of the? Oh, that's the name of the project. Okay, I see. All right, that makes more sense, I guess. I don't know. I guess we go to this one. Also terrible. Just fucking terrible. If it does have a bounce, I'd be looking somewhere around like 4.5 to 5 cents. But this thing likes to go down, and I don't think that that's going to be anytime soon. Maybe this is this is just even worse. Even worse on this chart, which has more history, it looks like. If it does bounce, I think that you top out. Well, this is actually a different chart here, but this is not the one that you meant, probably because it doesn't have AI rig. So yeah, terrible, just bad, just really, really bad. Again, not talking about you, miss. You're probably very, very nice. You've got a nice female name, but this chart, not fucking good. Not fucking good. Louisiana Swamp Rat says, every alt looks the same. Shit and down. What? That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. What? Are you kidding me? This is news. Yeah, man. I mean, that's, the people who have been here for even a few years, I think that's the realization that we all come to. You can make a shit ton of money from alts, no doubt about that, but you're playing a literal game of musical chairs there. Slap dad ass for us. I will make it bounce, sir, and clap them cheeks. Anyways, hey, all good, Mr. Matthews, all good, man. We done that shitcoin Ethereum. Actually, we did, but we can go back to it quickly here. It's like most things. I'd be betting on a bounce here, but I'm not betting on like a reversal to new all-time highs. But, again, for reference, this thing could bounce all the way up to 2,800 and still a fucking downtrend. Like, that's the issue with these things. I think that this thing could easily bounce above $2,000 in this next month or two. But I'd still be bearish on it long term. I mean, this is quarterly lower high. 6 month is just atrocious, man. It's very bad. The Ethereum Bitcoin, I mean, this is just I mean, look, it's probably going to bounce here just because it tested that prior macro low. But goddamn, man, like, that's a fucking downtrend. High, low, lower high, same low. What do you think's more likely? More likely is going to be a long-term breakdown, whether it's here, whether it's, in the recent future or in the long-term future. It's just going to be more likely. Elsa is actually making it bounce. Are you the garbage man from Minecraft? Actually, I don't understand that reference, to be honest with you, man. So I can't say yes or no, or come back with anything. So probably yes. Someone mentioned Euler a couple weeks ago, and it still looks strong. All right, let's just I'll bite. Let's check it out. Euler. Yeah, I would agree. In fact, this is one of the better charts in cryptocurrency land. In fact, short term, you might have a pullback down to like 6.25, but this thing I think is going to retest your February highs from last year, somewhere back around here, or last week's highs. Long term, I think that you will break out and retest prior all-time highs, but it can stay within this formation for quite some more time. So, do I think it's going to break out on this next test to the upside here at like $7.50? Probably not. I think that it holds a range for a while longer and then breaks out later. But again, that's just guessing on my part. Yeah, Bueller, exactly. Good morning to you, Shat. Or Shat? Is it Shat? Am I saying that properly, man? Mr. Tolan, Mr. T. There we go. Lucifer Incestus says, I'm watching with 60-minute lag, but those of you saying that Grok is good are completely clueless about AI. It's F-tier trash. I don't think it's trash, man, but I do think ChatGPT is generally better unless if you want to look at like a recent event or something that's like current, very, very current. Krown, has anyone told you that you look like the Hercules from the Love and Thunder? From Thor 11. No, actually, no. I don't know. I have to look this one up. From Mr. Arthur, he says link daily, weekly. Sure, ma'am. All right. Let's see. Link USD here. Let me see.
Well, it's the like.
Anyways, link. You know, I do. Jesus, man, this one's fucking tough. It does have potential for hidden bearish divergence. It's just I don't really want to be betting on short-term downside right now. Again, you're coming off of a couple of major moving averages on the 5-day and the weekly. Like, I'm a lot more inclined to say you're going to bounce rather than just fall through the floor here. You know, I think that this thing could bounce towards $15 very easily in the coming month. Quarterly, nothing obvious. 6 month, nothing obvious. 10 days or anything obvious here? Still no, at least from my point of view. Yeah. I feel more inclined to call a bounce, but goddamn, when I look at the daily like this, what I could say is on the daily, if you do close below Sunday's low, I'd be looking for a retest of the lows and then probably a bounce from there. But generally, I don't think you're going to make new lows before bouncing more. I can be wrong. I can be so fucking massively wrong about this. And if I am, then, well, Jesus, this thing's going to fall apart. But I do think it's a lot better to be betting on a lot of these things bouncing in the short term and then coming down maybe more long term rather than the opposite. Perplexity is also good for current events. Okay, I actually don't know that one. Anyways, maybe I'll check it out later. Just I got so many of these damn AIs now. I even made my own AI. Let's see, XMR for John Dude. Yeah, we can check that one out. XMR. Last we looked at it, it looked completely different than everything else. Not necessarily like massively good or massively bad. Yeah, still playing out this long-term monthly range that it's been in since, 2021. So compared to other things, yeah, it's definitely weaker because it did not make new highs in this cycle. But in the short term, it's certainly been stronger. I mean, this thing did not have the same sort of drawdown that you see across the board for most altcoins or even Bitcoin for that matter. And short term, I do think that this one will try some upside from here. Daily time frame, if it can reclaim yesterday's high, I would be looking for this thing to move its way back up to like 220, maybe even 225, something like this. But kind of similar to one of the other ones that we looked at earlier, I think it was Euler. I do think that you're going to be caught within this range for a long time, that being between about 113 to the downside versus 240 to the upside. Like, I don't think that you're going to break out of the range highs here on this next move to the upside. I think at best you'll test it and then come back down. But again, I can be wrong about that. If it closes above your February highs, then yeah, this thing's going to have a pretty fucking monumental move towards 350 and maybe even more. But yeah, we looked at AVAX earlier, actually. BC coin for Mr. Monkey. BC. Is it blood crystal? Is this it? It's big cock coin. Okay. Well, this one's a flaccid cock here. Very bad. Very, very bad. Down, down, down we go. Where we stop, only Bear Jesus knows. Don't think that one's going to be going up anytime soon, man. If it does, all rallies are sells, in my opinion. Derek says, Jesus, everything going to take a shit in the end, I guess. Kind of sucks to hear. Well, if it's an altcoin, I mean, most of that like, you're better off betting on that. Yes, long term. If it's Bitcoin, there's always hopium, right? I could change around my opinion to like, hey, bull market's still on. If we see Bitcoin, like I said, above about 95, it's not impossible. It's just, you have to have areas that, change your biases. And that would be it for myself. Until then, I'm looking for a bounce, but I don't think it's going to be a reversal. Just personal opinion. I can be wrong. I can be massively wrong about this. Tobias says, if you get the chance, please look at APT. So APT was like a SUI, or was it it was like a SUI. No, it's same idea as SUI, was it? Definitely not as strong as SUI, I'll tell you that for fucking sure. Again, your weekly is in a downtrend now. You got lower lows, lower highs, probably even the monthly too. Yes, the monthly definitely as well. So any rally here is a sell in my opinion, but it can bounce a lot in the short term. I mean, again, this daily right here really throwing me off on a lot of these things because these really do look like lower highs. If it closed below yesterday's low, I'd be looking for another run at like 435, but I still have a hard time seeing this one make like new lows in a trending fashion without a decent bounce first. I'm more inclined to say this one will bounce at some point to like $6 or so. But yeah. All right. Holy shit, we have like the literal comment scammers in the chat right now with the fucking XAI 91 bib blah 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 from Corinne Whitaker. How do we just ban all of these fucking scam bots? Like, I've been having this issue for 7 years now, and still it's an issue. Crypto Rente says, Cardano, please. Actually, you know what? We'll end on this one. I haven't looked at Cardano in a while. Same thing on the dailies, the other ones. If it closed below yesterday's low, I'd be looking for it to retest like 55, 56 cents and probably try a bounce from there. Looking at the weekly, I still think that you're generally in a bounce region. I don't think you're heading lower without a decent bounce first, maybe closer to like 70 to 75 cents. Other than that, I don't really have an opinion on this. Yeah, I really don't have a strong opinion on this just because its chart does look a lot different than most things. So I don't have any easy calls here. Yeah. Any coins that aren't Bitcoin that can maybe provide decent returns. I mean, they can all provide decent returns, just you have to get out at some point. You have to get out because if in from one cycle to the next, your probability of still being in an uptrend is probably less than 1% for all of the altcoins considered. I mean, most of them are just going to go down for their eternity. In fact, most of them just get one pump and then are just done after that, and it's all lower highs from there. Yeah, this coin will get you screamed at by Becker. Well, come at me, bro. I guess I don't know. I don't know. If you can see a closure on a daily above about 66 cents, I do think that you will get that bounce first, and it would be like at least 70 to 75 cents, I'd say, and then come back to it after that. Perplexity is best for research on real-time subjects. Oh, that's okay. That could be very useful to myself then. How do people get 2 to 4x if possible are only chasing 20 to 30% moves? Oh man, you've been on Twitter for too long. People can claim that they got whatever, they can claim that they got whatever, and maybe they did. And in the event that they did, you don't know how many times that fucking failed, for one. And you also don't even know if it's true to begin with, man. So dude, like if you get a fucking 20 to 30% move, that is a humongous, tremendous, massive fucking move. Like you can't get greedy with these things. You really can't. I know that all the success stories on Twitter are very enticing, but you have to understand that there's no verification for any of these. And, people lie about their fucking P&Ls all the time. I mean, it used to be a thing where people would just Photoshop them basically. I think a lot of people got caught with that back in the day. But even then, I mean, even for the ones that are real, you don't know how many times they failed, man. Don't fall into that trap. Don't fall into that trap with like comparing yourself to other people's gains all the time. I know it's very difficult because I deal with the same thing. Like when I see fucking Crypto post a screenshot and he's making like 100 Bitcoin, I'm like, damn, I need to fucking up my risk. But no, man, you got to play your game. You got to play your game. I swear to God, I know how to trade, says, sir, I'm currently in this mental asylum for traders as them nurses pounding at my door. They have been telling me that it's time for them vaccines and boosters that will make me pay per hand. I believe you. All right, maybe one last one. Okay, one last one for Mr. Ampower 137. He says, good morning from Slovenia. Nice. Luka Doncic country. Sir, can you check out PAL on the daily? Sure, ma'am. All right, we'll end on this one. PAAL. It's an AI coin, so it's got the narrative, but it doesn't have the trend. Again, like most things, I think you're going to bounce from here. This thing looks definitely stronger than many of the things that we've seen today. I do think that this thing is very likely to bounce at least to like 17 to like 20 cents area. But, long term, you get your one pump over here and then it's down, smaller pump over here, then it's down. You're going to probably get another short-term pump here, but I think the trend is quite clear at this point. Shit, even if this thing came up to like a quarter, I'd be looking at that as a gift from God to sell, to be honest. Anyways, all right, cool. That is where we're going to end things for today. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone joining in. This is always really, really fun to do. And it's fun because of the community interaction, honestly. Otherwise, why fucking do it, right? Anyways, we'll be back on with another live stream on Friday. We'll continue with the Friday live stream. And then of course, each and every weekday, I will pre-record my videos live on Twitter. If you just want to hang out, for a little bit of time, it won't be like a Q&A or nothing like that. Like these live streams, but it will be just like a very chill guy hangout. So yeah. All right. That's it for today.